The founders weren't saints, but they knew one thing for sure. Governments get real nasty when somebody tells them no. Europe was full of kings who thought punishment meant crushing bones, burning flesh, or locking a guy up in prison until his grandchildren died of old age. So when it came time to write the Bill of Rights, the framers threw a big red stop sign in front of government's favorite bias, right? That stop sign is the Eighth Amendment. It's short, it's blunt. It basically says, hey, Uncle Sam, you can punish people, but you can't go full medieval while you're at it. Welcome to our republic.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political band,
sailors and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. Not one small step for man.
Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
we pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Excess bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. 3 protections, 3 shields against tyranny. Let's break them down. Excessive bail. At its core, bail is simple. It's money or collateral posted to make sure an accused person shows up for a trial. If you appear, you get your money back. If you skip town, you lose it. But in England, bail was so often twisted into punishment. Judges loyal to the crown would set bail so high that the accused couldn't possibly pay. That meant people could be locked away indefinitely without ever being convicted. Punishment before trial. The framers hated that idea. The Eighth Amendment doesn't just guarantee bail in every case. It forbids bail so extreme that it becomes a weapon against a safeguard. Or it becomes a weapon instead of a safeguard. In other words, bail is supposed to just secure justice, not crush you before you've even had your day in court. Now, personal opinion. I am okay with rapists and murderers and terrorists being locked away with bail so high that they can't get out until their trial. They are literal menaces to society. So in my opinion, that isn't excessive bail. That's proper bail to ensure someone doesn't go and harm someone again. I'm sure there's court cases out there that talk about this with Supreme Court and stuff. I didn't want to look those up because I'm sorry. My opinion is they should not be released at all. At all. Anyway, and I'm sure there's laws out there that shift that and everything, and someone's probably going to say something. Anyway, do your own homework, okay? Moving on, excessive fines. Now, fines are supposed to fit the crime, but kings and parliaments used to use them to destroy political opponents. Imagine criticizing the monarchy only to be slapped with a fine that would wipe out your entire wealth for generations. That's how government silenced dissent without technically spilling blood. The Eighth Amendment put a stop to that in America. Fines could be used, but they had to be reasonable, proportional, and not designed to ruin someone's life just because the government didn't like their opinions. Now, personal opinion. I believe the Biden administration has used this as a weapon against the current administration before our current administration started. They purposefully went after people for crimes that didn't exist to try and bankrupt them or keep them from coming into the campaign. Absolute tyranny. Don't care what your opinion is. Don't want to hear it. That is just, honestly, I think it's actual fact. You don't agree? Go watch a show somewhere else. Cruel and unusual punishment. Here's the famous part. In 1791, punishments in Europe could get creative. We're talking about drawing and quartering, branding, even being boiled alive in some places. And these weren't just punishments. They were horror shows designed to scare the crowd as much as punish the accused, right? They want to scare the crowd from committing these crimes as well, but it was really more, in my opinion, vindictive. The framers wanted no part of that. The clause against cruel and The clause against cruel and unusual punishment banned barbaric penalties and made sure punishments actually fit the crime. But here's the catch. Cruel and unusual are flexible words. What was normal in the 1700s might be absolutely unthinkable today. Take the death penalty. It was absolutely normal at the founding for crimes ranging from murder to horse theft, right? But today, the Supreme Court has ruled that you can't execute juveniles or the mentally disabled or execution methods that, use torture, right? That line keeps moving as society debates what's unusual. Personally, I think the death penalty should be used a little bit more. I know some people agree or are going to sit here and argue, how can you be a Christian and think that I'm so sorry. Sorry. Certain individuals, in my opinion, not going to get into it because I'll probably get banned on YouTube, whatever. I think the death penalty should be used a little bit more. Its flexibility is what gives the Eighth Amendment its punch, right? It's not just frozen justice in 1791, right? It forces every generation to wrestle with that question. What punishment crosses the line into cruelty? And that's what makes our country great, right? Now we get to use the First Amendment and debate and talk and all those things. But my opinion, it should be used more. Don't care what you think. The Eighth Amendment isn't about going easy on criminals. It isn't. It's about making sure the government never forgets its limits. And I like that. I like that the government has that limit, right? Like, I don't want to see people tortured, right? I don't. It shouldn't happen. You can lock people up, you can fine them, and you can punish them, but you can't torture them, crush them financially, or turn the justice system into some medieval carnival of pain. You just can't do it. Really appreciate you listening, especially with my rants today. I didn't know I was going to rant, but as I went back through my notes for the show, I wanted to rant. Kind of fiery today. Remember, history isn't boring, especially when the founders, fresh from watching kings torture their enemies, carved into law that America would punish, but never, ever brutalize. See you next time.